Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Winners on a Wednesday. This week, not only do I have someone who's very successful in property, but also someone who is drop dead gorgeous. Please welcome onto the show, Amanda Leeds.
Hey!
Good to have you on the show, Amanda.
Building.
Alright, disclaimer, we're married.
Yes.
So you've cheated your way to success.
I've utilised my resources.
Oh, I like it. Okay, so just tell us the background. How long have you been in property?
How long have I been in property? Well, I started out as a quantity surveyor. So that was in 2010 actually. I went to university.
So literally not much long after me.
Yeah, not much long after you, yes. So I was obviously mainly focused on construction.
Yeah.
Calculating costs, managing costs on projects and stuff. So ever since 2010 is when I was in property. And I've always had an interest in property. I used to watch Grand Designs and shows like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2010, probably 6 years. From 2010 till like 2015, I was working as a quantity surveyor.
And then, so that's like a back. You're not doing property in the same way, like buying residential houses, not property investment.
Not property investment.
But you've
I was
got
looking after other people's money.
Yeah. So basically, what were you actually doing?
I was measuring drawings, calculating how much it was going to cost to build a building.
Yeah.
Could be a school, could be houses.
And you had big clients like Coca-Cola.
Yeah, Coca-Cola.
Taking their money.
Yeah.
And then basically doing refurb projects, investing their money for them.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting background. Now you are killing it in property.
I am.
So not only are you doing really well on the investment side, but you've done a lot from scratch yourself. So you've set up a HMO management company. You've done quite big refurb projects for people.
Yeah.
You've been really successful. But why don't we just rewind a little bit to when we first got together? Because I know people always ask you and always ask me
how we met.
How did we meet? How did it kind of happen? Because we didn't come together through business, did we?
No, everyone always, I think, thinks that that's how we met, but we actually met in a social setting.
A wedding.
A wedding. The perfect setting, actually. With
Yeah.
love. And I remember noticing you in the church because you were loud. You were singing loudly. I looked back and I just thought, oh, who's that guy? But then you came to the reception in the evening and you ended up sat next to me at our table.
So we met, we chatted, we fell in love. You didn't know about my property business.
I didn't. I had no clue.
I wasn't so. My brand. I wasn't so big on online.
No, you weren't shouting it from the rooftop.
I was just quietly building my portfolio and had a
Yeah.
really large property portfolio at that time.
Yeah.
But I didn't tell you until.
You didn't tell me until before you proposed.
Did you feel cheated? Because I remember. Did you feel like lied to? Because I remember I didn't want to tell you about my property business because we were just getting to know each other as people, really, weren't we?
Yeah.
So I was knowing you, you were knowing me, and I just thought I don't want to go on about my business. I just want to just get to know you.
And I didn't feel cheated, no. But I'm not the kind of person that takes things to heart anyway and thinks ooh and is like easily offended.
Yeah.
So I just thought, oh, you didn't mention that.
Well, do you remember how I told you?
Yes, I remember how you told me.
What did I say?
You said, what would you say if I told you that I had £1 million worth of debt? And I was just thinking, oh.
And I remember what you said. Hold on.
Yeah.
So I said that to you.
Yeah.
I remember saying that to you which is totally true because I had a lot of mortgages. So I'm thinking, well, I'm not going to tell you about all the assets and all the wealth.
Yeah.
I'll just say, what would you say if I told you I had £1 million worth of debt? And you were like, oh, I don't know. I said, well, I have. I've got £1 million worth of debt. And I remember you said, oh wow. I mean, do you want me to get some overtime? Like, what's the plan? And at that point, I thought, we're not married. We were in love. We've been together a little while, but not long enough for me to have to tell you. And then when you said that, I just thought, yes, she is the one. And then I told you,
myself.
you proved yourself. And then I told you the full extent. To which you just went, oh, well, that's good then. You know,
Yeah.
really like blase, like because ultimately, you know, you're not like a super materialistic person, are you?
No, I'm not.
And you love property.
Yeah.
So I told you, and then we got married. But you didn't want to quit your job as a quantity surveyor.
I really didn't know because I started my APC. I was in the
Yeah.
process of becoming a chartered surveyor.
Yeah.
And that was just like, after all the things that I'd done, that was just the next step
But
naturally.
the thing is, most people that go into property, they want to go into property because they hate their job. And they're like, oh, I hate my job, I want to escape.
Yeah.
For you, that wasn't the case at all, was it?
No, it wasn't actually, because I did enjoy what I did. I'd always been kind
Even
of
to the
interested.
point of marrying a millionaire, you still were like, oh, I want to do my job though.
Yeah, I did, and I persisted with that, carried
Yeah.
on until we'd been on our honeymoon, and then we did a mission trip to Zambia, and then you were like, oh, should we go to America next? And I was like, I'd never been to America.
Yeah.
I was like thinking, oh my goodness, I want to go to America. I've always dreamed of going to America. But, what? I didn't have any holiday days left, and I was like, oh. And you were just like, okay, well, I'll just go on ahead then, shall I? And at that point, I thought, oh my gosh, I mean, as much as I love my job,
Yeah.
I'll only literally always have 26 days holiday a year.
Yeah.
And I'll never ever have the freedom to do what I want when I want.
Yeah.
So at that point, that's when I was just like, okay, I'm gonna quit my job.
Yeah.
So I did that.
So you loved your job, but you quit it because you wanted the freedom to be able to work on your terms.
Yeah.
And you were like doing really well with your career as a surveyor. So when you quit your job, you didn't want to just kind of help me on the property side.
Yeah, I really wanted to get my teeth into it and to actually learn and know the different things. So I knew a lot about construction and refurbs and things like that, but I didn't really know things in terms of, I don't know, like managing tenants and, just like that sort of stuff. So I thought, I need to learn. So set up a management company, managing HMOs and single lets, mainly HMOs. And then also a company that was carrying out refurbs. So I was utilising my skills from my job. Looking at, getting builders to come out, looking at the quotes, making sure that they weren't charging too much. So sort of I got the best of both really, because I was still doing a little bit of what I was doing before, but, for myself.
And that's great.
Yeah.
And the thing is, most businesses, I think 80% of businesses fail in the first 5 years, but you started that business off your own back, really, and it wasn't, we weren't doing it together, you were doing that off your own back, and it was a really successful company.
Yeah, it was.
And you were making good money.
Yeah, we were making good money.
And you teamed up, you got a few people on the case, you employed Max.
Yeah, Max, we worked really well together with Max.
And then what happened?
And then I got pregnant with our first child, and at that point I was kind of thinking, I was enjoying it, but then I was thinking, on to the next season.
Yeah.
I want to be a mum. I want to fully embrace that.
Yeah.
And thankfully I'm in the position where I can stay at home and don't have to go to work. So I decided then that I was just going to be full-time stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. So we got someone to head up what I was doing, and then I left, and that was it, full-time mummy mode after that.
So you had all the experience of a background of building, but then residential property and tenants and management and HMOs.
Yeah.
But on top of that, the experience to set up a business, which is very different. You almost transitioned from an employee to not a millionaire's wife, but an employee to an entrepreneur in your own right.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, it was really interesting actually, because growing up, it was all I'd known and all I'd ever been told was like, okay, you'll go to school, go to university, get a job. Yeah. Basically working a job until, you leave and you have your pension. So it was, going out of my comfort zone, but, you were always saying if you're not growing, you're dying. And it was one of those things where I thought, it's really comfortable to be in a job and to never step out. But moving from being an employee to an entrepreneur, it was a big move, but something that I think has had a really good positive effect on myself, because as a person I've grown and I've learned more. So I'd never change that. I think it was a really...
What would you say to people that say like, oh yeah, it's alright for you because the business didn't have to work, because, you can come back to your nice house and your comfortable situation. What would you say to those guys?
I'd say that, well, if you're not willing to try, you'll never know. And the only way you're ever going to succeed really is by taking the chance. And I was coming home and, either way I was going to be fine. But, if you don't take the chance, you'll never know.
Yeah.
So you saying that is only saying a lot about yourself and, your self-doubt.
Yeah.
And, your lack of confidence in yourself.
Yeah. I think anyone that ever says it's all right for you because it's like, okay, this is my life. This is like, you were born and bred in Africa.
Yeah.
In Harare. anyone that says it's all right for you, really say more about them.
Definitely.
Because you just got to take the cards that you're dealt, man.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And you can turn anything into, you can take something and be like, oh my gosh, and be the victim all your life.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be like that, you know.
So, I had a couple kids,
Yeah.
which is amazing.
Yeah.
And you know what? Not only are you a fabulous wife, but you're a great mum.
Thank you.
And, but honestly, because I know when we got married, I was really busy doing the property stuff, buying houses, taking on lots of staff. I was also doing training events. And I remember having the conversation with you saying, look, now we're married, I don't have... In my mind, I was thinking, I don't have to work. I remember when we were on a honeymoon and we calculated, and we were island hopping going all around Greece, and we calculated that just off of half of the passive income that we were getting from the property portfolio, we could stay in the Greek islands hopping around Dubrovnik and stuff forever. Like, we'd got to a point where I'd got the business to a point before we even got married where me, you, the kids that we didn't have then, but we would never have to work.
Yeah.
But I think you sensed in me that it was more about just the money. It was more about mission, and just because you don't have to work. I mean, how boring would it be just lying on a beach?
Yeah.
Even when we had Ruby, when Ruby was born, I took 4 months off paternity.
Yeah.
And how was I?
You were bored.
Yeah, I was bored.
You were like just agitated of being at home. You wanted to do something.
I had so much testosterone in me and energy, just desperate to come out. I ended up going in a cage, doing a cage fight, just to let off some energy.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that you sort of really, and said, because I said to you, I don't know if I'm going to carry on with the training, I'm probably just going to, and you were like, no, you got to do that, it's your mission.
Yeah.
And you really released me and cheered me on to do that. And in the same way, now I'm doing that for you in your own business and in what you're doing. So tell us some of the projects that you're up to lately. I know just yesterday you were in Doncaster.
Yeah, just yesterday I went to Doncaster, collected some keys for a property that we've just got, and we're going to be doing a conversion on that. So it's a...
And when you say we, okay, we obviously, we're one.
Yeah,
we're like one person, but we do
Yeah.
have our own roles and our own properties and our own things.
Yeah.
We share money, but then we also have different pots. So it's kind of difficult to say, but this is a lot of these property deals that you're doing. I know we've got land, we're building houses,
Yeah.
we've got property HMOs in Birmingham, we've got a property in Doncaster that just completed. I think you picked up the keys yesterday,
Yes.
which you're going to do what with?
I'm going to convert it into two flats,
Two apartments, slice and dice,
Yeah.
and all this stuff is stuff that you've learned yourself, you're experienced in, you're heading up. So talk to me about education, because I know that I remember when after we got married, you said I'd be an idiot not to go on the training programs.
Something that I realised for myself was just that I've got so many resources around me. I mean, I'm married to you, the biggest property trainer. You know so much, and I just thought what a shame it would be to just sort of stay at home, be lazy, dumb myself down. I didn't want to dumb myself down, and I just thought, you do all these training events that I've seen changing people's lives, and I thought, I really want to apply myself and learn more. So I've been to the training. I obviously also pick a lot from you, talking to you and stuff, and I just thought I really want to take that information, utilise it, and actually just go and do it myself.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you're a big believer in investing in yourself.
Yeah.
You've also recently just got back from Spain.
I have got back from Spain. I was taking part in a program by T. Harv Eker.
Great.
And things like that. I've something that you've encouraged me in a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Self-development and self-growth. Something that I'd never really thought about myself. I was just kind of in my mode, my blinkers on, career. You just kind of do those things, but. There's the saying by Jim Rohn that says, what is it? Formal education makes you a living. Yeah.
But self-education makes you a fortune.
Yeah. And I feel like, you can be rich, financially, but you can also be rich in yourself. And So I think self-investment is, number one, the most important, like you say. And then obviously with the property stuff, I feel like it's really, I'm able to help people, with homes and stuff, but doing the charity stuff, I think having that enable us to do that. I'm from Zimbabwe. I know how people struggle in Africa. being able to go back and make a difference, with the education is a real big deal for me.
That's amazing. How do you juggle the time being not a full-time mom, but being a mom, wife, homemaker, entrepreneur, business person, going out doing programs, 2 kids? Like, how do you manage all that?
Well, something that I've learned from you,
Yeah.
delegation.
Yeah.
So having a nanny, someone to look after the kids, is
Not quite a nanny. When people think nanny, they think you just let someone just bring up your kids for you.
No.
We call her auntie, right? So just
Yeah.
someone that just helps with general the tasks.
Yeah, someone doing the
the
daily
boring
tasks,
stuff.
Yeah, the boring stuff that, would take me out of the game, like doing laundry, things like that. I think, being able to delegate and then actually spend quality time with the kids and then having someone then look after them when I go out,
Because I say to you, like, or our setup, and everyone's got a different setup, is I'm responsible ultimately for the business.
Yeah.
You're responsible ultimately for the home, but that doesn't mean that I have to do the business and you have to do the home. It just means responsible. You outsource everything. You do more property stuff than I do these days. You're out negotiating, wheeling, dealing, the biggest negotiator going. So what's the next plans for you then? What are the big things that you want to achieve over the next 12 months?
Oh, over the next 12 months. Well, I want to do lot more conversions.
Yeah.
I think that's something that...
You're really excited about house building?
Yes, I am house building. I think that will be the biggest achievement in the next 12 months. When I was a quantity surveyor, I worked on a project where the council were building houses.
Yeah.
And now actually being in the position where, it's not someone else's, I'm actually doing it.
Yeah.
From the ground up. I think that's really exciting. So
something that I've noticed about you, Amanda, as well in the property space is a lot of people like to just buy, even buy low, rent high. The idea of buying a cheap house, renting it out, getting maximum return.
Yeah.
You're not really interested in that so much. You kind of like to create homes, restore buildings, build houses, create homes. So why is that?
I don't know. I've always been interested in architecture and I don't know. I just think when you go back to the structure of the property, I just find that interesting. I think it just excites me a bit more. And
I guess when people say, "Oh, greedy landlords," buying all the houses, it's like no. What you're doing is you're taking properties that are ugly and then turning them into beautiful homes, almost solving part of the housing crisis.
Oh yeah,
which is
because lots of people live in terrible houses.
Yeah.
And that's not.
Well, they're empty because they just run down.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Biggest lesson that you've learned in the last 5 years that you'd like to share right now?
My biggest lesson that I've learned is that if you don't take action, you'll never ever know what more is there for you.
Yeah.
So I think you can spend a lot of time just thinking, oh, I wish I could do that, or but I think being outrageous and just taking action, and no matter how silly something sounds, just thinking it and then actually doing it. So you can think a lot, but doing it, I think that makes all the difference.
Yeah,
and
just do it.
Yeah. So if I'd have just thought, oh no, but I'm comfortable being in my job, and oh, never mind about the holidays, I would have never, grown to the person that I am now.
Yeah.
So I just think taking action is the most important thing that you could ever do.
What was it like the first time you came to the Property Investors Crash Course?
I was nervous actually and it was weird because I was nervous about having to call and make the appointments for the viewing.
Yeah, because on the Crash Course you actually have to do stuff.
Yeah, that was my biggest, because it was like, oh, do I have to? I'm very good at learning. I mean, I'm very good at just taking notes, reading, and so that was different, because in school and uni you don't actually learn how to do, you just in class learning.
It's all theoretical
Stuff. So actually picking up the phone, making phone calls, taking action and doing, that was the thing that was the most nerve-wracking. But when I did it, it was exciting. I felt empowered after it. I was like, oh, I left and I honestly felt like I can do this.
What will be your biggest advice to someone watching this? What are the next steps?
Next steps, I'd say get booked onto the Crash Course, because it will change your life, honestly.
Cool, man. You're awesome.
Thank you so
much.
much.
High five. Thanks, babe.
Thank you.
Hope you found that useful, guys. I'm Samuel. That was Amanda. And we really sincerely hope to help you in your property journey. So get yourself down to an event. Subscribe, like, share, and book onto the Property Investors Crash Course. See you real soon.